This video is intended to explain the rhetorical analysis assignment, and we're beginning with the rhetorical analysis worksheet. So the rhetorical analysis first requires that you analyze an article from your discipline, and in order to do that, you have to figure out what specific writing conventions in your discipline values. So the rhetorical analysis assignment sheet on Blackboard says that the worksheet will require you to identify 3 specific writing conventions that are valued by your discipline. To find this information, begin by following this link and choosing the first link to the App State WAGs. Okay, so for example, if the WAG handout lists conciseness as a writing convention, then you would Google something like, why does social work writing need to be concise? You'll likely not find this information through the library databases, so feel free to just Google it. And so I'm going to switch over to the rhetorical analysis worksheet. On the rhetorical analysis worksheet, the third question is, what are 3 valued writing conventions in your field of study? So think about whether or not your field values emotion, statistics, conciseness, discursiveness, objectivity, subjectivity, etc. So you should list the 3 valued writing conventions here. You do have to have at least one source stating those writing conventions, and you can use the App State WAG for this. So here it is. I used writing in criminal justice for an example. And so if you scroll down, there's a whole section on writing conventions. The one I'm focusing on, I thought would be really important, is objectivity. So this one says it presents facts in an objective, balanced manner. Accuracy is crucial. And then you can use this source. That's totally fine. But if you feel like you don't quite understand or you need more information, you can find a different source. So I did that. I wanted to see really how much they valued objectivity, because I can kind of see subjectivity being a part of police writing as well, or just writing in the criminal justice field in different professions. And so this is the article that I found. I'm going to scroll to the top. This is from the Journal of Criminal Law and Criminology, and it's called Criminal Procedure and Perspective. So the quote that I found that really explains this is, if the court is generally interested in encouraging proper police behavior in these areas, deterrence theory suggests the importance of both subjective and objective considerations. This article is talking about how to write legal documents in a way that encourages the best police behavior. And so that quote there seems to really be helpful. And so this says that subjectivity and objectivity are important in criminal justice writing. So the article that I would be analyzing for this assignment is this one. And the title of this one, so this is the one that I would have chosen for my rhetorical analysis proposal. And this is the one that I'm analyzing the rhetoric of. Okay, so it's by Cassandra Cheney and Ray Robertson, and it's titled Racism and Police Brutality in America. So that's the issue. And the quote I chose for this, so I chose this for the pathos paragraph. So what I was really trying to figure out is, does criminal justice writing value pathos? Some disciplines don't value pathos, and they just want complete objective writing with just clear facts. And so that's what I was trying to figure out, if criminal justice only valued facts or if they also valued subjectivity, which would indicate that they valued pathos to an extent. So we found out that they do value pathos because subjectivity is something that they care about in writing, that the discipline cares about. And so I found an example of pathos in this article, and it's a quote by someone who's experienced police brutality or seen it happen to her husband. And so it says, in support of the comment provided by George Sand, a woman by the name of Christina recounted an incident where her husband was physically abused by a police officer. So, as I'm writing my pathos paragraph, I'm going to use this quote in support of a good example of pathos from the article I'm analyzing. Let me show you my paragraph. Cheney and Robertson use mild pathos to support their argument by providing testimony from Black individuals' experiences with excessive force. According to Kit Kimport's In Criminal Procedure and Perspective, there should be, quote, both subjective and objective considerations in criminal justice writing. So remember that quote came from this source, which I'm using to support the writing conventions in criminal justice writing. This implies that a focus on both pathos, subjectivity, and logos, objectivity, should be present if criminal justice writing is to be successful. That's my own analysis of this quote from Kimport's. So I think that because he's saying you should be both subjective and objective in criminal justice writing, that they clearly value both pathos and logos, right? This is my pathos paragraph, so that's what I'm focusing on. So continuing my paragraph here. While attempting to support the existence of police brutality, Cheney and Robertson include a quote from Christina in 2011. My husband was really abused by a police officer last week. He got out of the truck, put his hands up, and got on the ground. While he was on the ground, the officer tased him. It was stuck in his skull. Then the officer continued to tase him 2 more times while he was having a seizure. And then here's my analysis of that example. This example could cause the audience to feel anger toward police officers since this is an extreme use of force that seemed unnecessary. If the audience feels this anger toward the police force, then they may be more likely to side with the authors and believe that police brutality exists. So that's my analysis of pathos. If criminal justice writing didn't value pathos, then my analysis would look different. If that were the case, then my whole paragraph would look different. I would use a quote up here that says that criminal justice writing does not value pathos, or they solely value objectivity. And then this would stay the same, but then down here I would analyze it differently. So I would say something like, the fact that the authors included this use of pathos causes the effectiveness of their article to diminish. Criminal justice writing should be solely objective, so using pathos is counterintuitive to supporting Cheney and Robertson's argument that police brutality exists. And then I wouldn't do that. So this is if criminal justice writing should be solely objective and not include pathos, right? And then this analysis would be if you found a source that said criminal justice writing should also be subjective, so should include pathos. So you have to do this for each one of your paragraphs, for logos, for ethos as well. And you can find just one single source. I could use this quote as well for my logos paragraph. If my logos paragraph followed this one, then I would start according to Kimport. Writing should also be objective, right? And so I would add the page number for that too. And then I would continue with my logos analysis. I would include all the objectivity, an example that's really objective and clear and fact-based, and talk about why that's a successful use of logos in the article that I'm analyzing. I hope this makes more sense. If you still have questions about this, please email me.